we are going to be looking at Manchester United's interest in Jude Bellingham this morning as our main story. We've also got loads of other stuff coming up as well. We'll be talking about Van der Beek, the latest on his potential move elsewhere, Elanga in the Golden Boy Award, and a little bit on Lisandro Martinez as well, and the reason why he wants to be at Man United and why potentially he turned down Arsenal, which is always nice to know, isn't it, that people are picking United over Arsenal. Do you remember that? There was a point where it looked like Martinez was definitely going to Arsenal. There was rumours, Arsenal fans all over the internet talking about how he's going to come in and play midfield next to Zinchenko. Didn't happen. None of it happened. He came to Man United and he's been absolutely sensational. People are asking about the microphone. Are we all good? We're all good on that. Right, there's a little bit of lag apparently. We're making it work, okay? One crucial piece of our kit is currently being replaced by a less optimal version, but we'll get it sorted and everything is fine. Let's start with Jude Bellingham then. United are set to battle it out with Chelsea and Liverpool for the signature of Jude Bellingham. Now, he's someone, this is from the MEN, but it's been reported across the media pretty much. He's someone that has been massively linked with United for quite a while now. And I think it was pretty much common knowledge that United wanted Jude Bellingham last summer. We wanted him the summer that he joined Borussia Dortmund as well, where he was toured around Old Trafford. He met Sir Alex Ferguson. He had the full shebang, basically. Please come and join Manchester United. And he still chose to join Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, he is someone of interest for Manchester United. He's someone that his stock has continued to rise. He looked excellent the other night, and continues to play very well for Borussia Dortmund. I think, how old is he now? He's the sort of player that you think, well, he must be 22 because he's been around for ages. He is 19, and he just turned 19 at the end of June. So he's incredibly young, incredibly promising player. A player that it's weird when there's players like this, I think, where it's like he's almost like a club target. It's like regardless of who the manager is, we're just going to try and sign Jude Bellingham, and you better like it. And now he's a very good player, very well-rounded player. What was it? He was playing when he was 16, wasn't he, for Birmingham? He's had his number retired there, which is still the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened. Imagine your football club retiring the number of a 17-year-old. Genuinely ridiculous. But that's the situation that we're in with Jude Bellingham. Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool all up for signing. I think Liverpool have had some of the strongest links. This summer there was reports that he would be available for around 120 million. That's according to Sport Build, 120 million on Bellingham, and they look to make, as Dortmund look to make huge profit on the player that they signed for £25 million from Birmingham City in 2020. I thought his contract was up from Birmingham. Did they pay? They had to pay a fee because he was under 18. Is that right? I think that's how it works. But yeah, what an incredible bit of business that would be for Borussia Dortmund. Something that they just continue to do. But the thing is, everyone looks jealous at Dortmund. It's like, oh, why can't United buy players like Bellingham? Why can't we get Haaland when he's 19? Why can't Mario Götze, Hummels, all these players that they've made loads of money off in the last few years, Mkhitaryan, Kagawa. Borussia Dortmund have won two trophies in 9 years. That's less than Man United. So that you need clubs that are willing to sacrifice basically winning stuff for the sake of profit and for the sake of bringing through youngsters, being a good place where you can play in the Champions League every year. You're not going to win it. You might get to a final if you've got, a golden generation like they had 6 or 7 years ago. You're not going to win it. You're not going to really win the Bundesliga. They haven't won it since Klopp left. You're not going to win. You might win a German Cup here or there. But they can take risks on people like Bellingham. They can take risks on people like Shinji Kagawa, who I think they got for like £300,000 10 or 11 years ago, before they sold him to Manchester United. So the people always look at these teams like Leicester, Dortmund, whoever it is that always. Why do they always have such good youngsters? Because they sacrifice winning stuff for it. Leicester are almost a bit of an outlier in the fact that they happen to win that Premier League. But generally speaking, these teams with incredible recruitment who always get the players first, RB Leipzig, what do they win? Nothing. So, I think that's almost the formula with football. The top teams have to buy proven players, whereas teams like Dortmund can afford to, spend 25 million quid on Jude Bellingham when he's 17 and then sell him in 2 years when he's still got loads of potential, because they don't actually mind not winning stuff. Ajax are a different proposition because they're still the biggest club in the Netherlands, but obviously it's a much smaller league. Anyway, Manchester United will be fighting Liverpool and Chelsea for Jude Bellingham, according to many reports. Let me know in the comments if you think he'd be a good player for United. He's one of those players that he can sort of do everything, can't he? He's very good on the ball. He's defensively disciplined. He's a very good player. And if you're talking 120 million quid for a midfielder, he has to be pretty good, doesn't he? The Elmston Strangler says, nice to see Joe today. Big man, the biggest man. Thanks for the news on Sunday, guys. You're welcome. Good to see you as well. I'm back after a small break, a small city break, going to Copenhagen, which was lovely. Thank you very much. Sammy says, Rice or Jude? I think we're more in need of someone like Jude Bellingham now that we've signed Casemiro, someone who's a bit better on the ball, more of a passer. But yeah, I think he's a better proposition than Declan Rice would be at this stage, because we don't really need a defensive holding player in the way that we did at the start of the summer. Let's move on then. Van der Beek is apparently Inter Milan's top target this winter. That's according to multiple outlets saying that Donny van der Beek will be a target for Inter Milan. I mean, we've said it before. He's just not getting in at United, is he? And it almost seems like, I say almost, I don't really even see the clamour for him to play anymore. When he first signed, I was always of the opinion that he's obviously a very talented player. He's obviously someone with a lot of potential, but we haven't seen it at Manchester United. That hasn't really changed. It's now 2 years and 3 months into him playing for Manchester United, and we still are yet to see any reason on a consistent basis that he is good enough to play for us. And the social media don't seem to be quite as interested in him playing for Manchester United anymore. This sort of Donny van der Beek FC no longer still has the same sort of fervour and vehement belief that he should be starting week in, week out for United. I think it's safe to say it's not really worked out for Donny van der Beek at Manchester United. So him going to Inter Milan would be a good signing for him. And I think a good signing for Man United. We're probably going to get about 12 million quid from him, aren't we? Because that's what we do. I still think we should get somewhere in the region of 25 to 30 million pounds for him, having paid 40 2 years ago. But we'll have to wait and see on that, of course. Moving on to Anthony Elanga as well. Actually, get your comments in on Donny van der Beek as well, because he's one that would always spark controversy and comment and conversation, and yet now look, send Donny van der Beek to Dortmund. What a waste of a signing. Surprised Ten Hag hasn't played him. It's because we're winning. Maybe that's why there's less controversy around him not playing. Would have loved to have seen what would happen to Donny if we'd have got Frankie de Jong. Again, we're looking for sort of other pieces in the puzzle to help Donny. Look at someone like Christian Eriksen, who throughout his career has been of a very similar profile to Donny van der Beek. Hard-working, arriving in the box, good passing range, very attacking threat, and always has been. And yet, Donny van der Beek has been here 2 years, has not managed to cement himself as a starter. Not even, let's be honest, not even managed to cement himself as like the first or second option off the bench. He's always been like, well, we've got a third sub or a fifth sub, so Donny can have a couple of minutes. He's never even been like Fred, for instance. This season is usually the first one off the bench. Tighten it up, get a bit of energy in the midfield, lock down a game, get Fred on. In 2 years, Donny's never even managed to be that. And you look at Christian Eriksen, who's come in on a free, so there's no imperative to play him. There's no financial reason that we need to play him here to at least get some of our money back if we sell him. There's no reason to play Christian Eriksen except for the fact that he's been fantastic for United, doing the job that we thought, or that I thought, Donny van der Beek could do. I know he's playing slightly deeper than Donny usually does, but when you think of a passing, attacking midfielder who's making risky passes, who's taking up those positions in midfield, that's supposed to be creating space and outlet for the attackers, that's what we've been waiting for 2 years for Donny to do. And Christian Eriksen comes in and does it immediately. I think that's the sign that this just isn't going to work out for Donny van der Beek, because, like I said, if Eriksen can come in on a free and take your spot that you've been looking at for 2 years, immediately, under the manager that you were, the only manager you've ever been successful under in Ten Hag, then I think if you're Donny van der Beek, you have to say this hasn't worked out, which is a shame for him. But yeah, as Martin P said there, no doubt he's a good player, just not at United. And, you know, he's still, what is he, 25? I think there's plenty of time for him to rejuvenate his career. He's 25 years old. He's got plenty of years left in the tank. Let's get him a move somewhere, get a bit of money, and spend that wisely on a right back, or maybe, you know, a backup striker. Moving on to Lisandro Martinez now. He was talking the other day, like I said, remember all these rumours about him going to Arsenal? It felt almost certain at one point he was going to Arsenal. We were sort of still kind of in and around for Timber at this point. Timber had rejected us. Martinez was the other option, and it all seemed a bit like, well, we're not going to get Martinez because we didn't really want him. He was kind of the second choice to Timber, and it's sort of like media speculation is how it was viewed at the time. Obviously, that isn't the case. We did sign him. He's been sensational for United. But he was talking after the game. He was talking to Andy Mitten saying about United fans chanting in Argentina makes me feel very emotional. I chose Manchester United because it's the best club in the world. That is it. It was simple for me. It's the best club in the world. Every game you can feel the support of the people. You know what I mean? You can't beat that. You can't argue with that. And how good is it that we've got players in there that not just, I mean, he's the sort of player that I think if you put him in a Crawley Town shirt, he would try his hardest every week. You could play him for Paddock FC and he'd still put the work in. But how good is it that not only is he that sort of player, but he clearly, obviously, wants to be at Manchester United specifically, with Ten Hag specifically. It's almost stunned me how much of an improvement he's been over, or Varane and Martinez have been over Maguire and Lindelof. Like, they're players who I think on their day are very competent centre-backs, but there's just another level of competency on the ball. Like, the ball is just being played through him all the time. His turns, his centre of gravity, his passing range, his vision, his ability to pick out runners and track people and just deal with things calmly. It's fantastic to have a player that's so energetic and aggressive and dogged, yet such composure as well. I think the thing we saw with Rojo at times, who would be maybe a slightly more comparable player in terms of his aggression, his size, his left-footedness, his ability on the ball, or I don't know if he's left-footed actually, Martinez, but you know how he plays. But Rojo never had the feeling that he was in control, that he was calm, composed, he can look up, he can turn back when the time's right. It felt like a little bit frantic all the time. Whereas Martinez has got that, but somehow he's got this wise head on his shoulders as well that means he picks out the right pass. He doesn't lunge in for that tackle. He doesn't, kick the ball out when he can find a man or turn back and give it back to the goalkeeper. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I think, pretty much everyone in the comments agrees with me on that. And I'm happy he chose Manchester United, and I'm happy he wants to be here. I believe that's going to be all from me this morning. It's good to be back. We'll have another video out later on as well. Obviously, no games for another week, which is just, a shambles, isn't it? How have we got City playing yesterday and United can't play today? Do we really need police at the game? Can't we just have a few community support workers? Maybe someone that works at the door at a Blockbuster. There's a security guard on the Greggs on Seaford Road in Salford. Get him outside Old Trafford. You don't need a security guard at Greggs. Do you know what I mean? There's enough local security guards that we could put together a ragtag team that is easily enough to oversee Manchester United versus Leeds. We don't need the police. They're all down in London. Forget about them. Let's get, some local lads in. That would be so funny, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's going to be all from me this morning. Manchester United are not playing today, unfortunately, but we will be back next weekend, I believe, or the weekend after. Fucking hell, it's ages, isn't it? Absolute disgrace. We'll be covering the England-Italy game, looking at anyone that stands out in the international break as well, and giving reports on all of that stuff. So make sure you stay tuned to Stretford Paddock. And any breaking news, we will, of course, bring you first. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We'll see you in a bit.